What's going on, everybody? B Scott here with you. And on tonight's show, we're going through the matchup video. We're going to go through every single matchup of Week 4, giving you my picks based on the predictions that I think how these games are going to play out. I got the totals for you. I'm going to drop them, all the good stuff. So keep it locked and loaded right here at the First Four Downs. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going over every single matchup of Week 4, giving you my picks and predictions as to how these games are going to be played out. So before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff. Comment. If you got a question about any of these matchups or whatever else, just drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer it. And then fantasy related, if you got any questions about fantasy football, I'll be glad to answer any questions, sit starts, flex, trades, whatever. Drop in the comment section. So let's dive right into it. First matchup on the docket, we got the Washington football team on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. -1.5 is the spread. Washington football team's favored. 47.5 over-under in this game. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to take the Washington football team. I think they're a better football team overall. I think Taylor Heinicke, as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes in this game, they'll be able to handle it. Don't get me wrong, this is a close spread. I could see Atlanta Falcons winning here, but I just got a feeling that they got a better defense. The Washington football team does. I think they're looking to rebound here. They've really struggled through the first 3 weeks of the season. If they can get the pass rush at Matt Ryan, they haven't really made the big plays. The Atlanta Falcons have. So I like the Washington football team in this matchup, albeit the Atlanta Falcons could possibly hang around in this game. Honestly, they're only +1.5, so I'm going with the favorite on the road. It's a tough spot here, just getting blown up by the Buffalo Bills. I understand that, but I got to take the Washington football team. Their defense is just better. I think the offense is sustainable here on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to take the under here, and I got Washington football team 24, Atlanta Falcons 17. That's the score. Next matchup, we're going to talk about the Houston Texans on the road against the Buffalo Bills. This spread is outrageous, to be honest. 17.5 minus by the Buffalo Bills. The money line is not even worth taking, -14.95. According to my sheet, the over-under is 47. So I'm going to take the Bills at -17.5. I just think they're going to be able to beat them with enough points, period. Yes, there's garbage time. You got to worry about these teams possibly covering on the back end. I mean, even in a teaser, in my opinion, giving Houston Texans 23 points, I still don't feel comfortable there, to be honest. So it's tough to be betting this football game at all. Buffalo -17.5. That's a huge number, but I'm going to take it. I think it's going to be under. I got Buffalo 33, Houston Texans 13. That's a 20-point spread. That'll get you your points. And I really think Buffalo's just on a roll at this moment. They beat Miami Dolphins 35-0 just 2 weeks ago. Really steamrolled a Washington football team that got some points back in garbage time, but still a 20-plus point win for them. So obviously I'm going to take Buffalo, even in the -17.5. Now I get it. All those points, it's hard not to want to take the Houston Texans. They've looked decent, to be honest. Davis Mills has made some plays, but man, the Buffalo defense has looked really, really good. Outside of Brandon Cooks, who's going to have to see a lot of Tre'Davious White. Can Davis Mills make the plays with these other pass catchers? There's just no one really established. And the run game, yeah, sure, it's full of veterans that haven't ran the ball effectively through the first couple weeks outside of week 1 against the Jacksonville defense that was terrible. So I'm going to be taking the Buffalo Bills here, even at -17.5. I get it if you want to, take the Texans. I get it's a lot of points, but man, I just think Buffalo's going to be able to win by 20 points here. So on to the next matchup, we got the Detroit Lions on the road against the Chicago Bears. Chicago -2.5. Over-under is 41.5. It's pretty low over-under, lowest on the week, I want to say. And I think Chicago's going to get back on track here. Chicago plays better at home. Their defense plays great, especially at home. The Detroit Lions, they've impressed me a little bit. Don't get me wrong. They've played pretty well, and they played till the last snap, period. So obviously, they're going to mess up some spreads here or there. You saw week 1. They didn't give up. Plain and simple, down 3 scores. Almost came back. Lost by 8 points. Honestly, screwed a lot of people in the spreads. But the Detroit Lions don't give up. Even against the Green Bay Packers. Down 18 points. Jared Goff is out there with 3 minutes left, throwing the football, trying to get in scoring range, trying to score. So this team's not going to give up on any given week. I just think the Detroit Lions are really going to find their way this week. They had a tough game last week. Played absolutely horrible against Cleveland Browns team. I really think Chicago's going to be able to turn around here, whether it's Justin Fields or Andy Dalton. Still the question mark of the quarterback, who it's going to be. But I think David Montgomery's going to be able to get it done on the ground here. I think Allen Robinson, they got to feed him the ball, period. He's their best playmaker on offense. So I'm going to take the Chicago Bears here. I got it 27-24. So obviously I think it's going to go over. I'm actually giving a lot of points, to be honest, but -2.5, I got Chicago all day long. Now we're going to be looking at the Carolina Panthers on the road against Dallas Cowboys. This is actually a great matchup. I'm excited. Dallas, -4.5. Over under at 51.5, which is pretty high considering both these defenses I think are playing pretty well on the season so far. And Sam Darnold really hasn't been tested against a decent defense, to be honest. And Dak has played some great defenses, albeit Tampa, their secondary wasn't great. But they played the Chargers, which is pretty good. And everyone, the Eagles were looking good through the first 2 weeks, but didn't look good last week, that's for sure. So Cowboys put it on them hard. I like the Cowboys in this matchup, to be honest. 4.5, I'm kind of torn right there with whether you can take that or not. I like the Cowboys in the money line just because I think the Cowboys are going to be able to pull out this win. Now, I think it's going to be close. Carolina's defense is no joke. Was leading the league in sacks through the first 3 weeks. Has played great. They do lose J.C. Horn in the secondary. That hurts them a little bit. But I don't know if I trust Sam Darnold against the Dallas defense. I mean, they're going to give up some plays here or there, but they've played very, very well through the first 3 weeks. 2+ interceptions all 3 games. So I like the Dallas Cowboys here in a win, another win at home to really solidify them at the top of their division, plain and simple. And I do like Carolina as a team overall. They played pretty well through the first 3 weeks. Didn't really play anybody that good, but obviously Christian McCaffrey being out, that hurts that offense. Chuba Hubbard, how effective is he going to be able to play? Albeit filling in for Christian McCaffrey and how great he is and what he does for that offense. So I really have to take the Dallas team. I like the money line here. I think it's going to be a close game. I got it 24-20 Dallas. So obviously, if you take Carolina on the +4.5, I understand, but I'm going to go play it safe, play the money line here, and I think Dallas is going to be able to have it all day long. Now we look at the Indianapolis Colts on the road against Miami Dolphins. Dolphins favored -1.5, 42 over under, 42.5. I'm going to go with the Colts here. Now, yes, Miami Dolphins, they've played decently. Honestly, they hung in the game with the Las Vegas Raiders last week with Jacoby Brissett. The defense has still looked pretty good. It hasn't been great, but it's been taking care of business. They've been keeping themselves in games, albeit even to Josh Allen, they made a lot of mistakes in that game that put him behind early, so that hurt him there. Josh Allen really didn't roast the Miami Dolphins, but they lost the game, so plain and simple. I like the Colts in this matchup. I think the Colts just can't start 0-4. If they start 0-4, it's almost over for this division. Carson Wentz has to pick it up at some point. This ball has to run through Jonathan Taylor. You look at the Miami front last week, gave up 111 yards to Peyton Barber on the ground. So Jonathan Taylor's got to be active early and often. And I think the Colts can pull out a win here that they absolutely desperately need on the road against the Miami defense that's playing pretty well, but the offense still has a lot of question marks with Brissett under center. They haven't been able to get the running game going with Myles Gaskin. Malcolm Brown had the touchdown in the red zone, but honestly, the running game hasn't really came to fruition for Miami so far this season. And I think on the flip side, Carson Wentz has some playmakers. Michael Pittman Jr., Zach Pascal. I mean, these guys are capable pass catchers, albeit they got tough matchups this week. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, great corners, great secondary. But I like the Colts in this matchup. I like it on the favorite +1.5. I got it 27-24, so obviously I got it on the over. I don't think both these defenses have really struggled. The secondary of the Colts has struggled, and then obviously the running defense of the Miami Dolphins of recent has struggled. So I don't see how this over-under is so low, in my opinion, 42.5. I really think there's going to be a decent amount of points here. I got the Colts 27, Miami 24, Colts +1.5 all day long. Cleveland Browns on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland favored -2.5, 51.5 over-under. This is a tough spot. These are two teams that are more than capable of winning this football game, plain and simple. Minnesota Vikings played very, very well, even against tough opponents. You saw last week, really put it on the Seattle Seahawks, and they're getting it done. They lost week 1 to Joe Burrow on a heartbreaker, to be honest, the fumble at the end of the game. So Minnesota at home against the tough Cleveland team. I want to say that I like Minnesota here, but the Cleveland Browns, they know how to run the football, period. That defense, maybe they're starting to wake up a little bit. 9 sacks on Justin Herbert and the Chicago Bears last week, albeit the offensive line for Kirk Cousins has actually held up pretty well against some decent fronts. Against Arizona, it held up okay. So, I like the Cleveland Browns in this matchup. I think they're going to be able to get it done on the ground. I think Odell Beckham coming back helps those pass catchers. They'll be able to utilize the play-action pass. I think the tight ends are going to make a day of it. Minnesota's defense, albeit is getting a little healthier, I still think they're going to struggle in that secondary. And it's going to be tough to stop Nick Chubb, plain and simple. Dalvin Cook, it's looking like he's going to be returning. That's great for the offense for Minnesota. But you saw Alexander Mattison was a perfectly fine fit. I mean, they're going to run the ball effectively either way. So this is a very close game to call, to be honest. I could see this game going either way. With the over at 51.5, I really think it's going to go over here. I think the defenses, albeit have played decently, Minnesota's defense has almost been non-existent. And then the Browns have not looked great in spots. Now, last week you saw it, they kind of picked it up. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. That defense and that front line really getting after Kirk Cousins. If they can cause some havoc there, I think they can get it done. So I got Cleveland Browns 31, the Minnesota Vikings 27. So I got Cleveland at the -2.5. I think it's going to go over the 51.5. Now we got the New York Giants on the road against the New Orleans Saints. Saints at home for the first time in a long time. Obviously, they didn't get to play their home game because of Hurricane Ida. This is period Saints. There's no way the Giants win this football game. I would be super, super shocked, to be honest. Saquon Barkley is still not up to speed as of yet. Now, yes, you saw last week he had a very effective day. He's starting to catch passes out of the backfield even better. But the Saints' run defense still very, very good on the season. I want to say I heard a stat. It's been three years of the Saints giving up only 100-yard rusher. And not just that, but Daniel Jones is lacking pass catchers. Sterling Shepard ruled out of the game. Darius Slayton ruled out of the game. Kenny Galladay's been dealing with a little hip injury that he's going to be managing and playing through. Evan Ingram, also a guy that's questionable in and out of the lineup. I don't know who's going to catch the passes here. And I can't trust Daniel Jones to really beat the Saints on the road. This is going to be very tough. You got the Saints -7.5, 42 over-under. It's a low over-under, so I don't really like the 7.5, to be honest. I really think the Saints are going to probably blow them out here. But 7.5 points, it's hard to take. And if this line was 3.5, 4.5, and you could buy it down, that'd be better. But I'm going to take the Saints on the money line here, even though it's a little high, just because you never know in these games. I think the Saints win pretty handedly here. I got it over just barely. I got the Saints at 24, the Giants at 20, and I think the Giants might be able to score here. I mean, Daniel Jones made some plays with his legs. You saw it against Washington football team. If he can do that again, maybe some sweeps and things like that, we'll see. But obviously, I got to take the Saints all day long in this win. There's no way they lose at home to the New York Giants. Now we're looking at the Tennessee Titans on the road against the New York Jets football team that doesn't look good through the first 3 weeks. This is probably their opportunity to win. You got the Tennessee Titans coming in, no Julio Jones, no A.J. Brown, no dominant pass catchers. So obviously you're going to have Nick Westbrook. I can't pronounce his third name, so I'm not even going to try. And then you have Josh Reynolds. These are the 1-2 running back, wide receivers that are going to be starting opposite each other in this lineup. And then you got Derrick Henry in the backfield. Are the Jets going to be able to slow that down? That's the question mark. Because the Jets' defense hasn't looked great. They haven't looked horrible, but they haven't looked great. And the secondary has been the problem. But now you're going against, subpar pass catchers. We'll have to see how that shakes out. If there's an opportunity for the Jets, it would be this week. The Jets are +6.5 here. The over-under is 44.5. I don't see the Titans scoring a bunch of points. The Titans' defense has not been great on the season so far, albeit they played very well against the Colts in a division game. So, obviously those games get more hype than others. If there was a way the Jets could win this football game, it could be this week, possibly. But I think Tennessee just gets it done. It's -6.5 for Tennessee. I don't really like that. I don't feel comfortable there. So, I mean, if you feel comfortable buying it down to 5 or so, that's up to you. Or you want to put it in a teaser, drop it down half a point as a pick 'em. I'm going to take the money line here. Tennessee on the road without their pass catchers. I still think they're going to be able to get it done. Zach Wilson has struggled turning the ball over so far. Corey Davis, I think he could have a good day here opposite his former team that didn't want to pay him a contract. So I think Corey Davis could be good here. Elijah Moore's already ruled out with a concussion. Maybe we see Jamison Crowder. Maybe we see this offense get to roll. Michael Carter. We'll see what happens, but I still like Tennessee in this match. I could see the Jets pulling out a victory here. I really could. But I'm going to take Tennessee on the money line. And that's Tennessee 22, the New York Jets 17. Now we got the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Kansas City favored -7.5. The over-under 54.5. I want to say the largest on the week. So for me, Kansas City hasn't covered a spread in forever. Plain and simple. The defense just hasn't been there. Now, yes, the Philly offense and the Philly team as a whole really struggled last week against Dallas. I don't think they're going to really struggle here necessarily, but I don't think they beat the Chiefs either. The Chiefs really got to get Tyreek Hill going. They really got to upstart this offense. It's really been stagnant through the last couple weeks, albeit they played the Baltimore Ravens in a primetime game. So obviously those guys are going to get up to play. And then they played a rival game with the Los Angeles Chargers. So I think Tyreek Hill, it's a get-right game for him here. I think Patrick Mahomes will have a just fine day. They're going to get after it. They're going to pick up this victory. I don't know if I love the 7.5. I think Philly could hang in this game a little bit. So for me, I'm going to take the money line for the Chiefs just because I feel the most comfortable there. I really think they're going to have it. They're going to be able to get it done, but the 7.5 is just a little large. So I think it's going to go over the 54.5. Both these offenses still are being able to produce, plain and simple, and both defenses have struggled without question. So I got a 33-30 Kansas City. They win by a field goal here. And yeah, that's it. Now we get to the afternoon games where we got the Arizona Cardinals on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams minus 4.5, divisional matchup, 55 over/under. This is the highest of the week. And I'll tell you right now, I really think it's going to be under. This divisional matchup, Arizona's defense, it's kind of Jekyll or Hyde. We'll see who shows up here. Lots of times they tend to show up. If they can get a pass rush at Matt Stafford, which hasn't happened yet on the season really, then maybe they can hang in this game. But I think the Los Angeles Rams are just clicking on all the levels, period. The defense is not giving up big plays. The offense cannot be stopped, whether it be on the ground or through the air. It doesn't really matter. Darrell Henderson, he might be back. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, Sony Michel has filled in nicely and got it done on the ground for them. So I just like the Rams here. I like the offense as a whole. Arizona Cardinals, there's too many question marks around what they're going to do. I mean, yes, they have the big playability with Christian Kirk, A.J. Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore. The running backs, they don't really have a great matchup here with the Rams front that's good against the running backs. So Kyler Murray has played fantastic, albeit this season, for sure. But these Cardinals have not beat the Rams in 3 years. They haven't covered a spread of 7 points. That's the closest they've been in any of these matchups over the last 3 years. So I can't sit here and give a 4.5 spread to the Arizona Cardinals. I just can't. So I got the Rams covering the spread at 4.5, 31-23. And yeah, I really think it's just going to be just under because I think the defense is going to be able to slow these teams down just a little bit. Now we got the Seattle Seahawks, another division, back to the NFC West on the road against San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco minus 2.5, over 52. San Francisco loses a heartbreaker last week. Gave up 50 yards to Devontae Adams on 2 plays so that the Green Bay Packers kick field goal to win. Devastating loss, in my opinion. It was pretty terrible defense and play calling. I get it. You got to watch the outsides. But you can't leave the middle of the field open like that. You just can't do it. Not to Aaron Rodgers. There's 30 seconds left. You know who's catching the ball. Put 2 guys on him. Do whatever you have to so that doesn't happen. And they gave it up anyway. So I like Seattle in this matchup. I just cannot see the Seattle Seahawks going to 1-3. I mean, they're just too good to be a 1-3 team. They really are. Now they've struggled getting their offense really going. They've showed flashes of great play, and they've showed really just stagnant play, plain and simple. Tyler Lockett dealing with an injury. We'll see how that works out. DK Metcalf popped up on the injury report. I think they'll both be playing, and there shouldn't be an issue there. So I like Seattle on the road here in a tough matchup. Russell Wilson hasn't necessarily played great on the road against San Francisco 49ers in his career, but they just have to get it done here. And at a plus 2.5, I got to give it to Seattle, plain and simple. I think they can get it done. They need to keep it close, or else they're going to be run over in this division earlier than, you know what I mean? Because you got to think, the Cardinals and the Rams, one of these teams is going to be 4-0. The other one's going to be 3-1. If the Seahawks lose to the Niners going to be 3-1. Seahawks going to be 1-3. 2 games back already and 3 games back to the leader. So I don't like that. I think Seattle, this is one of the must-win games, to be honest, early in the season. I'm going to take Seattle in a heartbreaking win, 31-30 for Seattle Seahawks this week. Now we got the Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Denver Broncos, a defensive matchup. This is a half-point spread, 45 over/under. I don't know what to make of this game. There's a lot of close calls here. This is a pretty much pick 'em. And I just like Baltimore here. I think they're the better overall team. I know Denver is up and coming. I know the defense has played great through the first 3 weeks. They really haven't played that many good opponents. So this is the real test for the Denver Broncos. Can they win this game? Absolutely. But I just think Baltimore on the other side has the difference maker, and that difference maker is going to be Lamar Jackson. Plain and simple. It's going to be tough to defend regardless. You saw last week in the pocket. He had all day, all the time to throw. He made the right decisions, the right throws. Just dropped a couple touchdowns by Marquise Brown, which really cost them a double-digit win, period. So I'm taking nothing away from Baltimore. Getting Jimmy Smith back in that lineup, it's going to help them. Teddy Bridgewater, we'll have to wait and see, has not made any mistakes on the season for the Denver Broncos. They also, Baltimore holds running backs to 3 yards per carry, so they might struggle on the ground a little bit, albeit they give up touchdowns in the red zone. But I got to take Baltimore here. I just think they're the better overall football team. I think people have not given them the respect and credit just because they've been in prime time playing these outstanding, crazy close games. And then, they just barely beat the Detroit Lions, even though it should have been a double-digit score, period, above them. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens on the road here in a tough place to play. I'm going to give it to them just by 1 point, though, 24-23. I got it over, and I think they get it done here in Denver. Now we got the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road against Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, minus 6.5. Over under 45.5. Pittsburgh just looks a mess, plain and simple. They really got beat down by the Cincinnati Bengals, albeit a division game, but at home. Deontay Johnson's back. Chase Claypool now is questionable, dealing with injury. We'll see if he's able to give it a go. Juju Smith-Schuster also removed from the injury report. You see the Pittsburgh Steelers offense just completely sputter out, plain and simple. They've lost their ability to make any throws down the field, to make any plays happen, plain and simple. I mean, come on. Your running back, Najee Harris, 19 targets, just complete check down every single play of the game. I mean, you're not going to win football games that way. So just ask the Atlanta Falcons, So I'm telling you right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't see how they can hang in this game. I get it. TJ Watt is looking to be healthy and ready to play. I guess he's got a lot of fans out there in Green Bay, bought a lot of tickets for his friends and family, so that's great for him. Maybe he makes some plays on defense, but I'll tell you right now, they're not going to be able to stop the Green Bay Packers. If they can get the pass rush to Aaron Rodgers, they can slow him down a little bit. So the 6.5 for me is a little scary, albeit Pittsburgh hasn't been playing well. And I could see Green Bay easily covering the 6.5. But for me, I like the money line on the Green Bay Packers. It's just a safer play. I guess if you wanted to move the line to 1.5, or if you put it in a teaser for Green Bay, moved its half point, it pretty much pick them. So Green Bay is going to win this football game. Pittsburgh has not looked great on offense. Their defense has sputtered at times. TJ Watt should bolster that. We already talked about it. But I think it's still going to go over here. I got a 27-20, and I think it's going to be over. And I think, yes, they might win by a touchdown, but it's too close to call. So I like the money line on this one. Get your money with Green Bay Packers. Now we got a great game. Tampa Bay on the road against the New England Patriots. Tom Brady, homecoming. No Gronkowski, looking like he's going to be doubtful for the game. More than likely not playing, dealing with the rib injury, but I don't think it's going to be mattered. Tampa Bay is favored by minus 7.5. 49 over under. I think it's going to go over here just because the Tampa secondary still really, really struggled. I think New England will be able to score some sort of points here, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Tampa Bay that much. Tom Brady is looking out to put on a lot here. He's ready to put on a show, plain and simple. Mike Evans, Godwin, Brown, they're just not going to be stopped here, albeit the secondary's played well for New England, but they haven't played this kind of talent. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I'm taking the 7.5 even because I really think they're going to cover just fine. 34-20 here. I think New England will be able to score some points, but they're just not going to be able to hang in this game. I really don't think so. That offense, Mac Jones just hasn't been able to push the ball downfield at a high enough rate to be able to stay in these types of football games. So 34-20, Tampa Bay, cover the spread all day long. In the last matchup, we got a Monday night matchup. Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers favored minus 3.5, 51 over under, 51.5. So I'm going to go with the Raiders here. You got to. On the road, it's more than like, it's not even really on the road. It's pretty much a home game. Everyone loves the Las Vegas Raiders in LA. So I'm going to take the Raiders here. They've been playing great football overall. They can pass with anybody. They can run the football. Josh Jacobs looked like he's going to be back and healthy enough to play in this game. The Chargers, they cannot stop the run. They haven't on the season so far. So I think Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Peyton Barber, these guys are going to be able to get it done on the ground. Derek Carr is going to be able to stay effective. Don't turn the ball over. And you'll be able to hang in this game. Justin Herbert has played great. Don't get me wrong. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns against these Raiders twice last season. So, yes, it's going to be a very close game. I don't think the Chargers are necessarily miles better than the Las Vegas Raiders. I really don't. The Raiders are playing outstanding football through the first 3 weeks. They're 3-0 for a reason and beat some pretty darn good football teams. So, I'm going to take the Raiders on the plus 3.5. I actually got the Raiders squeaking out a win here to stay undefeated. 27-26, Las Vegas Raiders. So, anyway, that's all the matchups. all your picks, everything you want to hear about for these games. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer any discrepancies that I may have left out there. So once again, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff. And for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.